Chapter 93. Jesus continued again and said unto his disciples, Yet further, O my disciples and companions and brethren, let every one be sober in the spirit which is in him. Let him understand and comprehend all the words which I shall say unto you. For from now on will I begin to discourse with you concerning all the gnosis of that ineffable. That mystery knoweth why the west hath arisen, and why the east hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the south hath arisen, and why the north hath arisen. Yet further, O my disciples, hearken, and continue to be sober, and hearken to the total gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable. That mystery knoweth why the demons have arisen, and why mankind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the heat hath arisen, and why the pleasant air hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the stars have arisen, and why the clouds have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the earth became deep, and why the water came thereon. And that mystery knoweth why the earth became dry, and why the water came thereon. And that mystery knoweth why famine hath arisen, and why superfluity hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the hoarfrost hath arisen, and why the healthful dew hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the dust hath arisen, and why the delightsome freshness hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the hail hath arisen, and why the pleasant snow hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the west wind hath arisen, and why the east wind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the fire of the height hath arisen, and why the waters have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the east wind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the south wind hath arisen, and why the north wind hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the stars of the heaven and the discs of the light-givers have arisen, and why the firmament with all its veils hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the rulers of the spheres have arisen, and why the sphere with all its regions hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the rulers of the aeons have arisen, and why the aeons with their veils have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the tyrant rulers of the aeons have arisen, and why the rulers who have repented have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the servitors have arisen, and why the deacons have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the lords have arisen, and why the gods have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the jealousy in the height hath arisen, and why concord hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why hate hath arisen, and why love hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why discord hath arisen, and why concord hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why avarice hath arisen, and why renunciation of all hath arisen, and love of possessions hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why love of the belly hath arisen, and why satiety hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the paired have arisen, and why the unpaired have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why impiety hath arisen, and why fear of God hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the light-givers have arisen, and why the sparks have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the thrice powerful have arisen, and why the invisibles have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the forefathers have arisen, and why the purities have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the great self-willed hath arisen, and why his faithful have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the great triple powerful hath arisen, and why the great invisible forefather hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the 13th aeon hath arisen, and why the region of those of the midst hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why receivers of the midst have arisen, and why the virgins of the light have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the ministers of the midst have arisen, and why the angels of the midst have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the light land hath arisen, and why the great receiver of the light hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the guards of the region of the right have arisen, and why the leaders of them have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the gate of life hath arisen, and why Sabaoth the good hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the region of the right hath arisen, and why the light land, which is the treasury of the light, hath arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the emanations of the light have arisen, and why the 12 saviors have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the 3 gates of the treasury of the light have arisen, and why the 9 guards have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the twin saviors have arisen, and why the 3 amens have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the 5 trees have arisen, and why the 7 amens have arisen. And that mystery knoweth why the mixture which existeth not hath arisen, and why it is purified. Chapter 94. And Jesus continued again and said unto his disciples, Still further, O my disciples, be sober, and let every one of you bring hither the power of sensing the light before him, that ye may sense with sureness. For from now on will I discourse with you concerning the whole region in truth of the ineffable, and concerning the manner, how it is. It came to pass then, when the disciples had heard Jesus utter these words, that they gave way and let go entirely. Then Mary Magdalene came forward, threw herself at the feet of Jesus, kissed them, and wept aloud, and said, Have mercy upon me, Lord, for my brethren have heard and let go of the words which thou saidst unto them. Now therefore, my Lord, concerning the gnosis of all the things which thou hast said, that they are in the mystery of the ineffable, but I have heard thee say unto me, From now on I will begin to discourse with you concerning the total gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable. This word, therefore, which thou saidst, thou hast not gone forward to complete the word. For this cause, therefore, my brethren have heard and have let go and ceased to sense in what manner thou discoursed with them. Concerning the word which thou saidst unto them, now, therefore, my Lord, if the gnosis of all this is in that mystery, where is the man who is in the world, who hath the ability to understand that mystery with all its gnoses, and the type of all these words which thou hast spoken concerning it? Chapter 95. It came to pass then, when Jesus had heard Mary say these words, and knew that the disciples had heard and had begun to let go, that he encouraged them, and said unto them, Grieve no more, my disciples, concerning the mystery of the ineffable, thinking that ye will not understand it. Amen, I say unto you, that mystery is yours, and every one's who will give ear unto you, so that they renounce this whole world, and the whole matter therein, and renounce all the evil thoughts therein, and renounce all the cares of this aeon. Now, therefore, I say unto you, for every one who will renounce the whole world, and all therein, and will submit himself to the Godhead, that mystery is far easier than all the mysteries of the light kingdom, and it is sooner to understand than them all, and it is easier than them all. He who reacheth unto the gnosis of that mystery renounceth this whole world, and all the cares therein. For this cause have I said to you aforetime, All ye who are heavy under your burden, come hither unto me, and I will quicken you. For my burden is easy, and my yoke is soft. Now therefore he who will receive that mystery renounceth the whole world, and the cares of all that matter therein. For this cause, therefore, my disciples, grieve not, thinking that ye will not understand that mystery. Amen, I say unto you, that mystery is far sooner to understand than all mysteries. And amen, I say unto you, that mystery is yours, and every one's who will renounce the whole world, and the whole matter therein. Now therefore, hearken, my disciples, and my companions, and my brethren, that I may urge you on to the gnosis of the mystery of the ineffable, concerning which I discourse with you, because I have in sooth gotten as far as to tell you the whole gnosis at the expansion of the universe. For the expansion of the universe is its gnosis. But now then hearken, that I may discourse with you progressively concerning the gnosis of that mystery. That mystery knoweth wherefore the five helpers have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the great light of lights hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first commandment hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath divided itself into the 7 mysteries, and wherefore it is named the first commandment, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the great light of the impressions of the light hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath set itself up without emanations, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first mystery, that is the 24th mystery from without, hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it imitated in itself the 12 mysteries according to the number of the numbering of the uncontainables and boundless, and wherefore it hath come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 immovables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves with all their orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the unwaverables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves up, divided into 12 orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless, which belong to the orders of the space of the ineffable. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the incomprehensibles, which pertain to the second space of the ineffable, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 undesignatables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves up after all the orders of the unindicatables, themselves being uncontainable and boundless, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore these unindicatables have rent themselves asunder, they who have not indicated themselves nor brought themselves into publicity according to the economy of the one and only, the ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore these super deeps have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have distributed themselves, being a single order, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 orders of the unspeakables have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have divided themselves, being 3 portions, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the imperishables, being their 12 orders, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have settled themselves, being expanded in a single order, and wherefore they have divided themselves and formed different orders, being uncontainable and boundless, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the impassibles have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have set themselves up, being 12 boundless spaces, and have settled themselves, being 3 orders of spaces according to the economy of the one and only, the ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 12 uncontainables, which belong to the orders of the one and only, the ineffable, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless, until they were brought to the space of the first mystery, which is the second space. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 24 myriads of praise singers have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have extended themselves outside the veil of the first mystery, which is the twin mystery, that which looketh within and without, of the one and only, the ineffable, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the uncontainables have rent themselves asunder, those which I have just named, which are in the regions of the second space of the ineffable, which is the space of the first mystery, and wherefore those uncontainables and boundless have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 24 mysteries of the first thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they are called the 24 spaces of the first thrice spiritual, and where they have come forth from the second thrice spiritual. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 24 mysteries of the second thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the third thrice spiritual. And that mystery knoweth why the 24 mysteries of the third thrice spiritual, that is, the 24 spaces of the third thrice spiritual, have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the first thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have extended themselves, standing one behind the other, and moreover bound one to the other with all their orders, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the second thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 5 trees of the third thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth why the 4 uncontainables of the first thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the 4 uncontainables of the second thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the 4 uncontainables of the third thrice spiritual have rent themselves asunder, and wherefore they have come forth from the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the first thrice spiritual from below, those who belong to the orders of the one and only, the ineffable, hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the second thrice spiritual. And that mystery knoweth wherefore the third thrice spiritual, that is the first thrice spiritual from above, hath rent itself asunder, and wherefore it hath come forth from the 12th thrice spiritual, which is in the last region of the fatherless. And that mystery knoweth wherefore all the regions which are in the space of the ineffable, and all those in them, have expanded themselves, and wherefore they have come forth from the last limb of the ineffable. And that mystery knoweth itself, wherefore it hath rent itself asunder to come forth from the ineffable, that is, from that which ruleth them all, and which expanded them all according to their orders.